Hi, it's Nick on the 3rd of June, continuing the theme this week of looking at unifying work and love and money. And one of the beliefs that can hold us back is that somehow it's kind of unholy or unspiritual to prosper. That somehow if you're doing something that is wonderful and caring or even spiritual, that somehow you shouldn't make any money out of it. It's something you should just do for love and you shouldn't do it for money. And it's the idea that, doing something wonderful for money somehow taints the work that you're doing. And I think there's so much of that exists in the world, and I think it's been an idea that has existed through history. I don't believe it's true, but I think many of us believe it's true and have degrees of kind of vestiges of believing that is true, that if we really prosper at what we do, that therefore we've sold out, we've just become commercial, we've stopped caring about the real work and we've started caring more about money. I don't know if you remember that idea that is in the Bible about, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to enter heaven. That kind of idea goes deep in our psyche, even if we're not Christians, even if we don't believe it. But what I found interesting was I delved into that more deeply a few years ago, and what I found was that it was actually a metaphor. It wasn't literally true. It was the idea that actually the eye of a needle was actually the entrance to a city in ancient times. And the idea was that if your camel was laden with things, that it couldn't get through the door. So the idea was that you had to kind of unburden the camel and take the load off it for it to enter the city. But the idea being that it's not being rich that's going to stop you getting to heaven. It's the attachment to riches that will stop you achieving a consciousness. So it's fascinating how we misunderstand or we kind of mistaught ideas. So there was nothing about, if you're wealthy, you're not going to get to heaven. It was all about, your relationship with prosperity, your relationship with success and wealth. Personally, I believe that, God, love, the universe, whatever word works for you, really wants us to prosper, to have an abundant life. And that doesn't mean that we have to focus on the riches. It means if we focus on serving each other, the riches come as a byproduct, I believe. The idea of seek ye first the kingdom and all else will be added. I think the kingdom's already in us, the riches are already in us. And as we serve each other and share our gifts and talents and riches with each other, we'll have enough money to have a good life, to have an abundant life. We don't have to worry about that. But the challenge for most of us is either we don't believe that we're allowed to prosper, or we make our focus on the making money rather than the serving each other, neither of which are helpful. So to me, when I'm able to, and I don't always manage this myself, but the goal is to focus on service, focus on adding value, and receive money for doing that so that I can keep doing it. That's my goal. So I guess the message I do want to leave you with, it is holy. It is spiritual. It is wonderful to have a prosperous life, to have an abundant life. I think that's what life wants for all of us. God bless. Have a good day. Bye.